Good day everyone, this is Sir J once again, and for today's topic, I am going to discuss to you about illustrating the probability of a union of two events. Okay, so example number 1, Enzo rolled a fair die and wished to find the probability that the number that will turn up is even or greater than 3. So when a die is rolled, there are 6 possible outcomes in the sample space. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the total number of possible outcomes in the sample space is 6. And we have two events here. Event A, the number that will turn up is even. So we have event A, 2, 4, 6. Okay, so set A contained the elements 2, 4, 6. So in event A, the number of favorable outcomes is 3. Okay, so event B, the number that will turn up is greater than 3. So B is 4, 5, 6. So the number of favorable outcomes in event B is 3. And the intersection of the two events, 4 and 6. So A intersection B is equal to 4 and 6. Okay, so let's illustrate the given using the Venn diagram. Okay, so the rectangle here are representing the sample space. And we will draw two circles right here for our two events. So we have event A and event B. So as you can see, the two circles partially overlap because we have an intersection. Okay, we have a common elements. So that is 4 and 6. So yung 4 and 6, dito natin siya ilalagay sa ating nag-overlap, sa overlapping part ng ating dalawang circle. So 4 and 6. And for A only, we have 2. And for B only, we have 5. And the elements sa ating sample space na wala sa dalawang event, dito yan sa labas ng ating circles. So ito ay si 1 and 3. Okay? So sa labas sila ng circles dahil wala naman sila sa ating dalawang event. Now, gagamitin natin ngayon yung ating formula to find the probability of a union of two events. So ang formula na ito ay probability of A union B equals the probability of event A plus the probability of event B minus the probability of A intersection B. So, isubstitute na natin ngayon yung ating mga given value dito sa ating formula. So, yung probability of event A is 3 over 6 dahil yung ating number of favorable outcome in event A is 3 over the total number of possible outcomes in the sample space, which is 6. So, 3 over 6. Plus the probability of event B. So yan ay 3 over 6 also because we have the number of favorable outcomes in event B is 3 over the total number of possible outcomes in the sample space, which is 6. Okay? Minus the probability of A intersection B. So what is the number of favorable outcomes in A intersection B? That is 2. Okay? So therefore, the probability of A intersection B is 2 over 6. Okay, then simplify this one. So that will become 3 plus 3 minus 2 is equal to 4 over 6 or 2/3 kapag kinuha natin ang kanyang lowest term. And kapag gagawin naman natin siyang decimal, 2 divided by 3 ka lang, yan ay magiging 0.67. At kapag i-convert natin siya to percent, 0.67 times 100 ka lang. And that is equal to 67%. Okay, so that is the probability that the number that will turn up is even or greater than 3. Okay, so let's proceed now to example number 2. So example number 2, Enzo rolled a fair die and wished to find the probability of the number that turns up is odd or even. So again, yung ating sample space dito, we have 6 possible outcomes in the sample space. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have two events right here. Event A, the number that turns up is odd. Okay, so that is 1, 3, and 5. And event B, the number that turns up is even. So we have 2, 4, and 6. And what is the intersection of the two events? So A intersection B is a null set or empty set. Wala tayong intersection sa ating dalawang event. Okay, so if i-illustrate natin yung ating given using the Venn diagram, so ito yung kanyang itsura. So ito muna yung ating sample space. So yung ating rectangle dito represent the sample space. And we have two circles here representing the two events. So dito, as you can see, yung ating dalawang circle ay hindi mag-o-overlap dahil wala naman tayong intersection or walang common elements sa ating two events. Okay, so hindi sila mag-o-overlap. So for event A, we have 1, 3, 5. And for event B, we have 2, 4, 6. Okay? Then, let's use now the formula to find the probability of a union of the two events. So we have the probability of A union B is equal to the probability of event A plus the probability of event B minus the probability of A intersection B. Okay, so i-substitute na natin ngayon yung ating mga given value dito. So for event A, the number of favorable outcomes in the event A is 3. So over the total number of possible outcomes in the sample space, which is 6. So yan ay 3 over 6 plus sa ating probability of event B naman, the number of favorable outcomes in event B is 3 also over the total number of possible outcomes in our sample space, which is 6. So 3 over 6 also. Minus, so since wala tayong intersection ng ating dalawang event, so wala siyang favorable outcome. So that is 0. Minus 0 over 6. And that is equal to 3 plus 3 minus 0 is the probability of A union B is equal to 6 over 6 or 1. Or kapag ginawa natin siyang percent, yan ay 100%. So yan yung ating probability of the number that turns up is odd or even. Next, example number 3. Enzo rolled a fair die and wished to find the probability of the number divisible by 5 turns up or the number of odd turns up. Okay, so again, dito sa ating example, the sample space, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is our sample space. So therefore, the total number of possible outcomes in the sample space is 6. And we have two events here. The number divisible by 5 turns up for event A. So what is the number divisible by 5 in our sample space? So that is only 5. So therefore, yung ating event A is 5 only. Siya lang naman yung divisible by 5 sa ating sample space. Okay, then for event B, the number of odd turns up. Okay, so that is 1, 3, 5. So yan yung ating favorable outcomes dito sa event B. So the number of favorable outcomes in event A is 1 and the number of favorable outcomes in event B is 3. And the intersection of the two events is 5. Okay? And the number of favorable outcomes of A intersection B is 5. So, i-illustrate natin yung ating given using the Venn diagram. So, again, the rectangle here representing the sample space and the two circles representing the two events. So, dito, as you can see, yung event A ay subset ni event B. Subset ha, si event A ay subset ni event B. Therefore, yung ating event A ay nasa loob ng circle ng ating event B. So, ito ang kanyang magiging Venn diagram. Ito yung event B at nasa loob niyan yung ating event A. Kasi subset lang yung ating A ni B. Okay, so, yung elements ni B is 1, 3. Ito yung mga elements na wala kay A. At yung common naman na elements sa kanilang dalawa ay 5. Okay? So, gamitin na natin ulit yung ating formula kanina. Pero, identify muna natin yung mga elements sa ating sample space na wala sa ating dalawang event. So, nariyan ang 2, 4, at saka 6. So, ito yung mga elements na wala sa ating dalawang event. So, nasa labas sila ng ating dalawang circle. Gagamitin naman natin ngayon yung ating formula. So, ito yung ating formula. The probability of A union B equals the probability of event A plus the probability of event B minus the probability of A intersection B. Okay, so i-substitute na natin ngayon yung ating mga given value dito sa ating formula. So the probability of event A, so what is the number of favorable outcome in event A? That is 1. So 1 over 6 plus the probability of event B, the number of favorable outcome in event B is 3. So 3 over 6 minus the number of favorable outcome of A intersection B is 1 also. So the same lang yung ating event A at saka yung ating A intersection B. So 1 over 6. So let's simplify this one. At 1 plus 3 minus 1 is equal to 3 over 6. Kopyahin mo lang yung denominator na 6 and get the lowest term of 3 over 6, and that is equal to 1/2. Or kapag ginawa natin siyang decimal, yan ay 0.5. At kapag kinonvert natin siya to percent, yan ay 50%. So that is the probability of the number divisible by 5 turns up or the number of odd turns up. Yung or dito class, yung or, ang ibig sabihin yan is union ng dalawang event. Pagsasamahin natin yung dalawang event natin dito. Okay? So I hope na-gets ninyo yung ating tatlong examples. Alright? Okay, so see you to our next video lesson.